Well, a good morning to you. Here we are in the Shetland Islands with another episode of Travels with Brett. For those of you who can't understand Scottish, I just said, welcome to another episode of Travels with Brett. Here we are today in beautiful Shetland Islands, England, where you can learn more about being a knight of shining armor, being a Viking of old times of lore, or just the local town drunk. We'll probably meet all three today in beautiful Lerwick. In the Shetland Islands, they ran out of fresh water probably 300 to 400 years ago and took to drinking seawater. You can see here an abundance of it. And for those of you who are not accustomed to drinking seawater, be careful because it can change your appearance. Ever wonder why people have red hair from Scotland? Well, it's because they drink seawater in great abundance. If you're visiting, don't drink any water that's offered to you. Instead, drink whiskey. In fact, if you go on a hike, it's required by law to drink at least one bottle per hour. We're going now on a hike to try to find ponies, and along the way, we'll drink this, the freshest water of the Shetland Islands. You can see here that there are sheep and ground birds that nest. You can also see here, this is Florida, which is part of the Shetland Islands. Thank you. Here you can see a Shetland pony. Babies. Just born. You can see the size of them, they're quite large. In Scotland, everything happens backwards. These will get smaller until they become the size of small figurines. And then they'll be eaten like candy by the children here. We're at the very famous historic site where William Wallace watched his father and all the clan lords get burned. You saw it in the movie. This is actually where it happened. You can see they left as a memorial all the burnt shit here. This is exactly the spot where William Wallace peeked through the wall to watch his father get set on fire. If you go this way, you can suddenly appear in this other area over here. This is the hill that William Wallace ran along to go find help after his wife had been slaughtered by the English. And if you look closely here, you can see a bathtub where they distill seawater to become whiskey and feed it to the birds in order to catch them easily during the hunting season. True story. Some more truth from Travels with Brett. There's an old saying that history is written by the winners. It's a little known fact that Scotland was actually occupied by Germany during World War II. They changed the record so that we didn't know how weak the Scottish really are. But look, evidence, clearly, of German bunkers throughout the Shetland Islands. Let's go for a walk now and discover more about this precarious place. You can see here what is known as a Rauscharch, German word for bunker. And this is not indicative to Scotland. They don't know how the arch was formed. They still don't know how to make one. If you go into any building, the doors are square, but in Germany, all of the doorways are rounded to accommodate the large size of the Germanic folk. If you walk a little bit farther, you can see more evidence of German architecture. This is what is known as a Weissamach, which is a particular type of angle. Again, the Scotch, not knowing much math, only know about 90-degree angles. So 45 degrees, 45 degrees. Again, smart German construction. If you walk in here, you can see plenty of Germanic language. The word Fang in German means occupation. These are known as Führermachers, where you can actually burn your breakfast. Germans really enjoy a burnt breakfast. In fact, they prefer things on fire while they eat them. If you go this way, you can actually get to Germany. There is a tunnel that leads directly to Berlin. We won't take it today because, well, we're busy. Some more evidence of the German ingenuity of these bunkers. Here you can see what are known as Lorrimacher, which kept out the Scottish Army. You can see they're quite sharp, and if you touch one, ooh, hurts. Since the Scottish Army always goes about in kilts, their bare legs are exposed to elements like barbed wire and thorns. And so they never tried to retake these islands in their kilts. I'll show you an example of how the Lorrimacher work quite well against a bare-legged soldier. Now, if you take off your pants, which is actually a law in Scotland, then you can figure out just how much this hurts. Alright, so now let's pretend we're a Scottish soldier. I'm on my way to kill the Germans. Here I go. Oh, these hurt here. Oh, goodness me. I don't know how to attack the Germans. Oh, my legs, they hurt. I think I will go away now. One stone, I'll teach you that in Scotland, the tradition is to put on your boots first and then put on your pants. Because, you know, they have kilts and they're not used to putting on pants, so they usually don't have to worry about it. So it just became a tradition over time. Because if you don't put on your pants first, then you drink your whiskey. Ponies. We're gonna go sneak up on the ponies and ride one. This is the safest way to approach a Shetland pony. Put your hands up. If you carry a bottle of whiskey, it's a symbol of truce. We're going to try to ride one of the Shetland ponies now. They're just being hard to get, which is part of the fun. Better luck next time. In 2006, an Albanian film director, Rakamai Shusha, decided he wanted to do a version of The Lord of the Rings. And he asked Scotland if he could use this particular plot of land to film the Hobbit scene where Frodo gets the ring from Gandalf. You can visit the set, it's free of charge. But again, it's the Albanian version, which I think only sold 14 tickets to, I think, 13 half-breeds and the director himself. We've arrived at Loch Ness, home of the Loch Ness Monster. This is Chinese barbed wire to keep out the Chinese who have tried to kill the monster and sell it for blubber on the Japanese market. Look at how beautiful the loch is. There you can see remains of the former Loch Ness Monster and the current one with its spine sticking out of the water there for everyone to take pictures of. But you have to put it on the blurry setting of your photo thing taker because it's bad news otherwise. The national sport in Scotland is rape, but sometimes they play soccer. The maximum penalty for having a dog on your team is 100 pounds, which in Scotland is the national salary of the average person for 4 years. Well, the genetics are so bad that even parking spaces are disabled. Sometimes even the signs are disabled too. A badge is a certain type of person that has a disease of the left eye. It gets all milky and starts to drip by the age of 4. Teach you about whiskey, which they call here in Scotland scotch. So if you go get a whiskey, you can see it. It's very visible. And then it's made here in these beautiful places that were made by the Germans some 4,000 years ago. This is called which is the Swedish name for scotch. If you look over here, you can see Stonehenge, just a short distance away. And there's the National Monument of the Queen, which is the garbage can. Over here, if you look way beyond, you can see the Loch Ness Monster. In Scotland, the national currency is brown water. And if you have a camera with you and you have brown water and you sit on a bench and you look out towards the great beyond, then you've found yourself in a very peculiar place, which they call Scotland. Hello. Little seldom known fact that the Morse code was invented by the Scots here on the Shetland Islands. They would talk into one side of the bottle and then they'd listen to the other side. Oh, hello, hi, how are you? Oh, very good, how are you? Oh, this is great. What's going on here? Well, if you stop drinking so much, you would finally try to talk to your kids. What are you talking about? I always pay attention to my children. They're always around. The Germans are coming. They're going to invade England.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Why don't you tell me more about your date with your friend? The Germans are coming. You need to leave. You have to get away from them. They're very scary people. I don't want to talk to you about people. I just want to let you know I love you. It's not true. You have to get out of here. Everybody's going to kill all the Jews. He's going to tell me I'm Jewish. I don't want to be Jewish anymore. Why are you talking about Scotland? Listen, I have to tell you something very important. Why is it you want to tell me? You have to leave Scotland and get to England because the Germans are coming. They're going to make you slaves. I don't want to be a slave anymore. Okay. I'll tell you the truth. Nobody wants to be a slave. Every slave war is a fair island. I don't want to be a slave anymore here. I love you. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get out of here by going up these high walls. We'll go on
High walls in Scotland. I like Scotland. We're going to play for the waterfall. You'll be normal because everybody's drunk here all the time. There's some really secret places I want to tell you about right now because I'm drunk. And you can only know these secrets because you're a drunk Scotsman. So right now we're at the Magic Falls. This is where unicorns are made by the hundreds. If you come here and you take a whiskey and you're wearing a sweater made out of wool, you'll turn into a princess. I have gone all the way up to the end of the trail there, and I found a rainbow, which was made by the English and brought to Scotland by the Dublish. That's Stonehenge. That's the garbage can. This is where the Queen lives. She lives in the garbage can land. But listen, I wanted to tell you, in the event that we get arrested or destroyed, Adam is made as strong. If we're trying our best to behave ourselves. Bye. We gotta get out of here, man. We're running out of time. Oh shit! Wow, I'm really toasted. This is the end of the Toilet Islands, which you can see here, the National Monument of the Toilet Islands, the air conditioner. And there's a pile of yellow things. You know what? You should always come to the Toilet Islands. The Toilet Islands are beautiful. The Shetland Islands, the Craplin Islands, the Poopin Islands, the Dogland Islands, whatever you want to call them. They're just great islands full of misery and piss. So if you like that kind of thing, like broken phones and horse manure, then this is right up your alley. Come to see it. Thanks for joining Travels, Brett. This has been your host, Chris, and I've replaced Brett because Brett's sick today because he got sick on the whiskey. Now he's taking off his pants because he wants to go chase goats in a sheep field and maybe ride a horse there. You should always enjoy your travels with Brett because they're the most important travels you'll ever make. It's where you'll learn the history of England when you're in Scotland.